Today I have decided to discuss about as to what Rahul Gandhi has said in the press conference and has answered number of questions of the correspondents and the journalists present there. And let us analyze as to what was the main theme and as to what Rahul Gandhi wanted to convey and the questions of the journalists and the gist of that. That is what we want to discuss. First thing I would like to emphasize that any politician who has been elected by the people in any country for that matter has to be responsive, has to respond to the questions and the queries of the general public. Because if we have elected a public representative democratically, then it is our right to ask the public representative to respond to what we feel about. So, any politician for that matter, or any public representative for that matter, has a right to ask questions, and this is the basic responsibility of the public representative to answer. I cannot imagine a situation where the public representative doesn't hold a press conference and prefers to have a monologue. Because if a elected person adopts a monologue and does Mann Ki Baat and doesn't answer the questions of neither the general public or the public representatives in the parliament, then it's a serious issue. Because the parliament has been made to have discussions, and we, the public, we also want to see as to what is transpiring in the parliament, as to what type of questions are being asked, and as to what type of replies is being given. Because we are watching and observing whether the opposition is doing its duty or the ruling party is discharging the duties for which we have elected them to be in the ruling party. But unfortunately, in the democratic setup and the country which is a mother of democracy, we have not seen certain public representatives and who have not even held a public debate or participated in the public debate or has had any press conference and has not gathered the courage of facing the journalists. And even if the journalists ask questions, that is very clear and evident that the questions have been framed well before the interview has been organized. And so that's a situation which, first of all, I would congratulate, and I am happy that Rahul Gandhi, in spite of being ousted from the parliament membership and has been sentenced a 2 years sentence in the Surat, which is in Gujarat court, he has come out again to face the public questions and the questions of the journalists. First of all, I will congratulate Rahul Gandhi for that. Number two, as to what type of questions were asked and as to what type of responses we got from Rahul Gandhi. Rahul Gandhi emphasized, and we also feel, that everybody in the country has a right to know as to whose money had gone to the shell companies based in Mauritius and how that money was brought back into Adani's companies, and whether it was a hawala transaction or it's a case of money laundering. He asked a very pertinent question that this money, which is of around 20,000 crores, around 4 or 4.5 billion dollars, is under question, and Adanis could not have earned this money, and this could not be their own money because their cash flows in last 20 years cannot justify generation of this type of cash. So the question which is pertinent and very important and which Rahul Gandhi raised, whether this money belongs to some politicians and whose money is it. So we have a right, and Rahul Gandhi also has a right. Now he is a general public like us. He is not a elected representative because his election is parliament seat has been declared to be vacant, and he has been sentenced to 2 year sentence. But it's our right, and Rahul Gandhi is right, and everybody is right to know as to whose money that 20,000 crores is, whether it's a case of money laundering, and how this money went to Mauritius, and how that shell companies could flow back that money back into Adani's company. So that is question number one. The second question, what Rahul Gandhi emphasized, I do not know what is the truth behind that, but what he said was that the day he spoke about Adani in the parliament and raised certain questions as to what is the relationship of Adani, Gautam Das Adani, or his brother Vinod Adani, with the powerful persons of the ruling party, and he wanted to understand and know as to what is the relationship, or whether there is a relationship between the contracts being given by Australian government or the Sri Lankan government or the Bangladesh government or different governments of the world, and the contracts were given to Adanis, and how that happened, whether undue influence was exercised and Adanis were unduly favored. That was in question number two. And he says, and it has to be inquired, it has to be found out whether what he is talking makes sense or not, that since that question was raised in his speech in the parliament about the relationship between the powerfuls of the ruling party and Adanis should be examined, and as to what are the answers to that particular question. And since then, the Gujarat court has been very swift to take a action within a month's time, and Rahul Gandhi was sentenced, because we in general public, we know and we understand that the judicial system is so slow that we have to wait 10 to 15 years, because I have also filed a case of illegal construction behind my house, and in spite of the fact that that illegal construction is obstructing the sun and everything of my house, I am fighting that case for last 5 years, and still a long way to go is there. I am not getting justice. But we understand, and any person who is listening to this conversation would also appreciate that if they have gone into a civil suit or a criminal suit, they take years, and in that process, this particular generation is not able to take advantage of the judicial system of the country. But in this particular case, the stay which was granted by the High Court was vacated, and within a month, Rahul Gandhi was prosecuted. So, such a fast pace, this thing was done. And the second question is whether all the mudslinging that has taken place in last so many years, and the defamation has been done by different parts of the different parties, like the ruling party and the opposition also, because we have heard number of narratives and the narrations where public and the private conversation, and even in the election speeches, the other individuals have been named and they have been defamed. And if you get into the access of the WhatsApp, you find that every 70% of the posts that we see there is against a particular community, which is against the social norm and even the legal framework, but no action is being taken because nobody wants to get involved in these type of judicial processes. But a question is whether Rahul Gandhi was singled out and he was sentenced because he raised a question which basically was not against a particular community, because he took names of three persons: Lalit Modi, Nirav Modi and Narendra Modi. Narendra Modi is our Honorable Prime Minister who has been duly democratically elected by the people of India, so we have all regards for him. But Nirav Modi, neither Nirav Modi is a backward belongs to a backward community, nor Lalit Modi belongs to that backward community, because Lalit Modi is from Rajasthan and Nirav Modi is from Gujarat, and both these persons do not belong to backward community. So how that can be taken as a onslaught against the backward community? Number one. Number two, even if any thief or any person who has laundered thousands of crores of Indian hard-earned money and had cheated the banking system, and if some politician or some public representative or even the general public raises a question about and raises the finger against that particular individual, whether that person belongs to upward community, Brahmin, Thakur, Muslim, Hindu, whatever, backward or Dalit, hardly makes a difference, because a thief is a thief, and calling a thief, I do not know whether it's a crime. So I do not know, but I would not raise any questions on the judicial competence of the judicial authority who has sentenced Rahul Gandhi for 2 year sentence, and which is the highest ever sentence given on defamations in last so many years. Now the other question is that the whole world is watching us. So whether it's a case of Adani, whether it's a case of the responsibility of SEBI, ROC, stock exchanges and whatnot, as to what they are doing and whether they are discharging their duties, whether the corporate governance in India is so stressed that they are not taking any action against the erring company, and which is one of the most and the biggest a question mark in the competence of the corporate governance of the country. And the financial institutions of the world, the bond market, bond prices of Adani Group in the international market, and the questions being raised in different quarters around the world are sufficient for our investigating agencies to get into action and find out as to whether Adanis are guilty or not. If they are guilty, they should be punished. If they are not, then they can go scot-free, and we can walk around the world very proudly saying that there was nothing wrong in Adani company and there was no issue. But now, I do not know as to what political mileage the ruling party wants to get out of the expulsion of Rahul Gandhi from the parliament or getting him sentenced for 2 years, because till now we were hearing that Rahul Gandhi is the biggest asset of the ruling party, and BJP always and their sympathizers always said that till Rahul Gandhi is in the helm of the affairs of Congress, the BJP gets a advantage. But now, after debarring him from fighting elections, now they are, I do not know why, as a student of the strategic management, as to what strategy they have, and they want to remove Rahul Gandhi from the contest and want to face Mallikarjun Kharge, who is the tallest Dalit leader of the country right now. So it's a very interesting development which is taking place, and the total judicial system also in test, because the Supreme Court of India has to now to decide whether the decision taken by the court of Surat was done after all judicial scrutiny and will be able to stand the judicial scrutiny as such. The other issue that has to be, because Rahul Gandhi today emphasized that his main issue, and he will keep on reiterating that particular issue in general public and be walking around as he walked for more than 4 months and 4,000 kilometers he walked with the general public. He will keep on doing that, and he will not rest till this particular question is answered as to what is the relationship between the ruling party and Adani's, and whose 20,000 crores is it which had gone to Mauritius, and whether the money laundering is involved in that. So the basic questions are to be answered, and we all Indians are eagerly waiting to understand and know as to whether the establishment and the government institutions, integrity and independence has been compromised as alleged by the opposition parties, and whether they are vigilant, and nothing of this sort is taking happening. So we will have to wait. And all over the world, because we saw UNO representative also said that Rahul Gandhi has been sentenced for 2 years, and the Congress party in their statement they said they are approaching the higher level of the court, and they are watching as to how the judicial system will be taking the decision in this particular matter. So we are not only being evaluated within the country, but we are our judicial system, our corporate governance, our political independence, and whatever issues are involved about Adani and the Adani enterprises, that is being examined by the entire world. So we have to be very careful, because we are proud Indians and we love our motherland like others what they do with their country, and that is why we are eagerly waiting. But I was very happy that Rahul Gandhi today appeared and he answered a number of questions of the journalists, and I request and appeal to all politicians of my nation to organize press conferences and interact freely, so that the public at large and the journalists in particular are able to find answers of their questions, which is the pillar of democracy. Monologues don't work. Monologues are not important. Monologues do not work in democracy. Dictatorships that can work. So my request to all politicians, without naming any political party or anybody, that they should come forth and start dialogues, discussions, shastras, and whatnot. So this is my appeal, and this is what my interpretation of the press conference that Rahul Gandhi conducted today. Thank you. Thanks a lot.